You wake up before the city does, and for one strange second you do not know where you are. The ceiling above you is painted with fading reds and golds. The air is warm already, too warm for morning. You hear sandals scraping stone in the street outside. A cartwheel groans. Someone laughs. Somewhere nearby, bread is already baking, and the smell reaches you through the open window in a soft, familiar wave. Then you feel it. Not a shake. Not yet. Just a tremor in the silence. A wrongness. A pulse under the floor, so slight you almost think it came from inside your own chest. You sit up fast. The room is still. The light is gentle. Nothing is broken. Nothing is burning. And yet your skin tightens, as if the day itself is holding its breath. You step onto the cool stone floor and cross toward the window. Outside, Pompeii stretches beneath the pale morning sky, beautiful and ordinary. Merchants setting out goods, neighbors greeting each other, dogs weaving through the alley, a fountain, spilling clear water into its basin. And above it all, Vesuvius watches. It rises in the distance like it always has, quiet, heavy, ancient. But this morning, it does not feel asleep. You stare too long. A breeze moves across your face, carrying dust and the faint scent of sulfur. It vanishes quickly, swallowed by the smell of bread and wine and wet stone. Easy to ignore, easy to dismiss. So you try. You tell yourself it is nothing. A restless dream, a nervous thought, a trick of waking too, suddenly. But deep down, before the first shout, before the first crack in the sky, before the first person runs, you already know something is wrong. And the worst part is this. The city does not know it is living its final morning. You dress quickly and step into the street, letting the city pull you into its rhythm. Pompeii is alive in the way only a living city can be. Voices bounce off stone walls. Shop doors open. Water splashes from fountains. Smoke curls from ovens. The morning sun warms. The plastered walls and painted shrines tucked into corners where people pause, whisper a prayer and keep moving. You move with them. A woman passes carrying figs in a woven basket. Two boys chase each other through the narrow street, shouting, laughing, nearly crashing into a mule loaded with jars. A baker wipes flour from his arms and calls to someone across the road. The smell of fresh loaves, olive oil, wine, fish sauce and sweat mixes into something dense and human. Life, routine, reassurance, and yet none of it settles you. You notice small things no one else seems to notice. Birds lifting suddenly from the rooftops, a dog whining at nothing, the water in a public basin trembling in tiny circles, a crack in a wall that was not there before. People glance toward the mountain, then away again, as if looking too long might invite bad luck. You tell yourself to stop watching, to stop searching for signs. You walk through the forum, where the market is beginning to fill. Traders argue over prices. Coins clink, sandals slap against worn stone. Priests move like pale shadows near the temples. Everything says normal. Everything says this day will pass like every other day before it. Then the ground gives a short, sharp jolt. A jar falls somewhere and shatters. The sound cuts through the square. Heads turn. A few people laugh nervously. Someone mutters that the earth has been restless for days, weeks maybe, nothing new, nothing serious. Life resumes almost, immediately. But you do not laugh, because now the pigeons are gone, because now the air feels thicker, because now, when you look at Vesuvius, you see a thin, dark line rising from its peak like a scratch across the sky. And though the city keeps breathing, talking, buying, praying, you can feel something beneath it all beginning to wake. You see it before you understand it. At first it looks like a cloud forming above the mountain, strange, but distant, easy to mistake for weather. Then it grows, not spreading like a cloud, but rising, climbing straight upward in a dark column, thick and violent, as if the earth itself has been pierced and is bleeding smoke into the sky. The square begins to slow. Voices fade one by one. A merchant stops mid-sentence. A child points. Someone laughs again, but the sound is brittle now, forced, already breaking. More people turn toward Vesuvius. More people stop moving. And then a boom tears through the air. It is not thunder. It is deeper, closer. It hits your ribs before it reaches your ears. The ground jumps beneath your feet. Birds explode upward from every rooftop at once. People cry out. A horse rears so violently it throws its handler to the stones. Now the city knows. The dark column above the mountain swells higher and wider, branching at the top like a monstrous pine tree made of ash and night. The sun dims behind it. Dust begins to drift down, soft at first, almost delicate. White-grey flakes landing on shoulders, hair, market, stalls, bread still cooling on wooden boards. A woman wipes it from her arm and stares. It keeps falling. Someone starts running, then another, then 5 more. Panic moves faster than sound. The forum erupts. Traders abandon goods. A child screams for his mother. A dog tears free of its rope. Priests shout prayers that vanish beneath the rising noise of fear. You stand frozen for one terrible second, watching ash collect in the grooves between the stones. This is real. This is happening. The mountain is no longer distant, no longer background, no longer part of the horizon. It has become the day itself. A man slams into your shoulder as he pushes past. "Go!" he shouts, face grey with dust and terror. "Go now!" And suddenly the city that felt immortal an hour ago feels fragile, thin, exposed. You taste grit on your tongue. Your eyes sting. The sky darkens another shade. Pompeii is still standing, but it is no longer safe. And you are already late. You run without choosing a direction. Everyone does. Streets that felt orderly minutes ago collapse into confusion. Bodies press shoulder to shoulder. People shove carts aside, drop baskets, lose sandals, scream names into the thickening air. Ash falls harder now, no longer like dust, but like dry snow from a dead sky. It gets in everything, your mouth, your eyes, the folds of your clothes. You pull fabric over your nose and keep moving. The sound around you is unbearable. Crying, shouting, hooves striking stone, doors slamming, prayers breaking apart in frightened mouths. Over it all, from the mountain, a constant roar. Not one sound, but many. Cracking rock, bursting fire, the long, low growl of something far too large to stop. You turn into a narrower street, hoping to escape the crush, but the air there is worse, thicker, darker. The ash is already gathering on rooftops and window ledges. It patters against tile. It hisses softly when it lands on cooking fires. You pass a house where a family is trying to drag trunks outside, as if valuables still matter. You pass another where the front door is open and no one is inside. The city feels torn between denial and terror. A tremor shudders through the ground, stronger this time. A crack races up a nearby wall. Tiles slide from above and smash into the street just behind you. People scream and flatten themselves against buildings. One man does not get up again. No one stops. You glance back toward the mountain and wish you had not. The column above. Vesuvius has darkened into something almost solid. Lightning flickers inside it, not bright and clean, but jagged and sickly, hidden in smoke. The world has taken on the colors of bruised flesh. Grey, black, yellow. Daylight is dying in front of your eyes. You think of shelter, of escape, of the gates, of the sea. Every choice feels wrong. Every street feels too small. Every second feels stolen. You look at the people around you and see it written across every face. No one knows where safety is, and the ash keeps falling, steadily, heavily, as if the sky has decided to bury the city one breath at a time. You reach a wider road and nearly lose your footing. The stones beneath your sandals are slick with dust. The crowd surges forward, then stalls, then surges again like a trapped animal throwing itself against a wall. Somewhere ahead, people are shouting that the gates are blocked. Somewhere behind, others are shouting that the roofs are collapsing. Every rumor spreads instantly. Every rumor feels true. You push past a toppled cart, its jars shattered, wine bleeding into ash like dark blood. A mother drags two children by the wrists, their faces white with powder, their mouths open in silent crying because the air is too thick for sound. An old man kneels in the street, clutching a household god to his chest, unwilling or unable to rise. No one stops. No one can. The earth jolts again. This time, it throws you sideways into a wall. The impact knocks the breath from you. Around, you people fall hard onto stone. Above, a balcony groans, splinters, then crashes into the street in a storm of timber and plaster. The scream beneath it ends too quickly. You force yourself up. The light is worse now. The sun is gone entirely, hidden behind the ash cloud. Torches appear in doorways, flickering orange against the grey, but even their flames look weak, choked. The city that was bright this morning now feels subterranean, as if you are already underground, already buried, already walking inside your own grave. Then the first stones begin to fall. Small at first, hot pebbles raining from above, then larger pieces, pumice, jagged and pale, striking roofs, shoulders, streets. People lift baskets, cloaks, boards over their heads. You do the same with your arm, flinching each time a piece lands nearby. The impacts are everywhere now, constant, sharp, merciless. You realize the danger has changed. This is no longer fear of what might happen. This is survival from one moment to the next. Pompeii is not emptying. It is unraveling. And with every minute, the city becomes less a place to escape from and more a trap closing around you. You keep moving, because stopping feels like surrender, but somewhere inside you, a colder thought begins to form. What if there is no way out at all? You hear the sea before you see it. That sound becomes your anchor. Somewhere beyond the collapsing streets and choking ash, waves are striking the shore. Water means escape, boats, distance, air. You cling to that thought and let it drag you forward through the darkening city. You turn corners by instinct now, past walls painted with gods no one is looking at, past taverns emptied in panic, past courtyards filling with falling stone. The air is almost night, though it should still be day. You can barely see faces anymore, only shapes moving through grey, arms raised over heads, mouths open, eyes wide and shining with terror. You stumble over something soft, a body. You do not look down for long. You cannot. Ahead, the street slopes toward the harbour, and for one desperate moment, hope cuts through the panic inside you. More people are moving the same way, men carrying bundles, women clutching infants, children with no one beside them. The whole city seems to be pouring toward the water as if drawn by the same final instinct. Then you smell it, not the sea, sulphur, hot, metallic, bitter, so strong. It coats your throat. The wind has shifted. It comes in sudden breaths, like the mountain itself is exhaling into the city. You cough hard. Around you, others do the same. Some stop to retch, some keep moving anyway. When you finally reach a place where the harbor should open before you, your hope fractures. The shoreline is chaos. Boats slam uselessly against one another. Men scream over each other. People shove toward the water. Some are already waist deep, trying to climb aboard anything that floats. Others are staring in disbelief because the sea looks wrong, pulled back, disturbed. The waterline shudders as if even the ocean does not know how to endure what is coming. Behind you, from the direction of Vesuvius, comes a sound you have never heard before. A deep rushing roar, not above, not around, coming toward you. You turn, and somewhere through the ash, beyond the rooftops, beyond the falling stone, you see a wall of black moving down the mountain faster than fear, faster than thought, faster than running feet. then every hope you had narrows into one brutal truth. You are no longer escaping a disaster. You are standing in its path. You do not think, you move. The sound behind you becomes everything. A roaring, boiling, grinding force so vast it seems to erase all other sound. The harbor vanishes into panic. People shove into the water. Others run back toward the city as if stone walls could protect them. Some freeze completely, bodies locked by terror, unable to choose. You understand them. There is nowhere that looks safe, nowhere that feels real. The darkness coming down from the mountain is not like smoke from a fire. It is denser, heavier, alive with ash, gas, shattered rock, heat, a moving night, a devouring storm. It swallows streets before your eyes. It rolls over rooftops, through alleys, around columns. It does not rush like wind. It consumes like fate. You run along the edge of the harbor, lungs burning, sandals slipping on ash and wet stone. The air grows hotter with every step, not warm, hot, then scorching. It presses against your skin through your clothes. It enters your mouth like an oven. You try to breathe and the breath hurts. Someone grabs your arm. For 1 second you turn and see a face covered in ash, eyes red, begging without words. You cannot save them. The realization cuts deeper than fear. You pull free. Or maybe they lose their grip. You do not know. You hate yourself instantly, but your body keeps moving because your body still wants to live, even when your heart begins to break. Around you, the world becomes fragments. A child crying, a man calling for his wife, a boat overturning before it even leaves shore, flames flickering where they should not exist, ash so thick it turns people into shadows 2 steps away. Then the heat surges again. You know, with a certainty colder than death, that this is the moment. Not later, not someday. Now, the mountain has reached the city, and you are small beneath it. Small, beneath the sky. Small, beneath history. You keep running anyway, because even when the end is real, something inside you still refuses to stop. You find shelter only because your legs give out. A stone doorway, half broken, narrow. You throw yourself into it as the darkness thickens outside. Others crush in beside you. Strangers pressed shoulder to shoulder, all of you breathing too fast, too loud, as if breath itself might save you. The walls are warm, then hot. Ash hammers the roof. The ground trembles without pause now, vibrating like an animal in pain. No one speaks at first. There is no language for this. You crouch there with people you have never known, and in the half-light you see their faces the way people rarely see one another, stripped clean of status, pride, routine, ambition, a rich woman with rings blackened by soot, a laborer bleeding from the forehead, an old man shaking so hard his teeth chatter, a little girl staring at her empty hands as if she cannot remember what she has lost. And then you understand something terrible. This city will not survive. Not the houses, not the streets, not the painted rooms, the market stalls, the temples, the jokes, the arguments, the promises made this morning, the bread in the ovens, the names scratched into walls. All of it is ending together, not slowly, not symbolically, completely. The life around you has not been interrupted. It has been cut off. You think of who you should have spoken to, who you should have held longer, what you believed would wait until tomorrow, the things you postponed because there would always be another morning, another meal, another chance to say what mattered. Outside, the roar deepens. Inside, someone begins to pray in a whisper so raw it sounds like weeping. Another joins, then another. You do not know if you are praying too or just trying not to fall apart. Your eyes sting. Your throat closes. Tears cut clean lines through the ash on your face. For the first time since waking, fear changes shape. It is no longer just fear of dying. It is grief for everything still alive in this moment. and for how quickly it can all be taken away. You leave the doorway because staying no longer feels safer than moving. Nothing does. The air inside has grown unbearable, thick and poisoned, and the people around you are beginning to collapse into coughing fits that steal all strength from their bodies. So you step back into the street, and the city you enter no longer looks like Pompeii. It looks like the memory of a city. Shapes where buildings stood, shadows where people stumble, ash piled so high it changes the streets you thought you knew. The sky is gone, day is gone. Even sound is different now, smothered beneath the endless fall of debris and the monstrous breathing of the mountain. You move through it like a ghost. A doorway you passed this morning is buried to the waist. A statue has lost its face. A wall painting, bright with color only hours ago, is streaked and dying beneath gray. You hear crying nearby and follow it, but by the time you reach it, the crying stops. You stand there, frozen, unable to help, unable even to see clearly through the storm. Heat presses in again, brutal and immediate. The air itself turns violent. You shield your face, your skin feels flayed by wind and ash. Somewhere ahead, people are falling, not from impact, not from wounds, but because their bodies are simply giving up. You want to fight the sight of it. You want to deny it. But the truth is everywhere now. There are moments in life when you believe time will stretch, soften, make room for mercy. This is not one of them. This moment is hard, sharp, final. You think of your own name and how easily it could vanish. You think of your own voice and how soon it may never be heard again. You think of the simple fact of being alive, the weight of your breath, the ache in your legs, the pounding of your heart, and how precious it feels only now when the world is trying to tear it from you. You keep going because stopping means accepting it, but inside you already know. The city is not asking whether you are ready. It is ending anyway. You slow at last because there is nowhere left to run that does not lead into more ash, more heat, more darkness. The world has shrunk to the space immediately around your body, breath by breath, step by step, heartbeat by heartbeat. Everything else has been swallowed. The falling debris softens for a moment, and in that brief, unreal pause, you look back. Not at the mountain, not anymore, at the city, at what remains of it through the storm, at the outlines of homes where people loved and argued and slept, at streets where children ran this morning, at courtyards where lamps once glowed at dusk, at a place full of ordinary lives that never believed ordinary could disappear in a single day. And that is what hurts most. Not that death came, but that life was still happening when it did. You realize the end is rarely announced the way people imagine. No great warning spoken clearly into the air. No perfect chance to prepare. Sometimes it arrives while bread is still warm, while someone is still laughing, while a promise is still unfinished. While you are still thinking there will be time later, the ash thickens again, the heat returns, the darkness closes. Your body trembles, your thoughts narrow, the city blurs. And in the final stretch of terror, one truth burns brighter than all the fire and ruin. Around you, you were here. You saw it. You felt it. You breathed the last hours of a world that believed it would wake again tomorrow. Then even that thought begins to fade. And all that remains is this haunting question, carried through centuries like a whisper through ash. If you had one last day, would you even know it? Comment, I would survive. Or would you?